There are some topics we should avoid for a daily conversation, one of which is the ages of others as well as your own age.
True, but even so, we're going to be rather naughty today and make it the topic for today's coffee break, aren't we, Sue?
Yes, we are, but from a totally different angle.
Oh, what do you mean by that, Sue?
Well, we're going to try to provide our listeners with some information on cultural differences between our countries in the attitude towards ages in Japan and the United States, and presumably in England, too.
You mean some customs and manners associated with the subject of age?
That's right. For instance, here in Japan, they seem to have a special celebration when they reach certain ages, but we don't do that in the States. Am I right, Mr. Togo?
Yes, in Japan and in China as well, if I'm not mistaken, and particularly when they become over 60. Therefore, we have special celebrations at the ages of 60, 70, 88, and if you're lucky enough to be able to live to 99, then we call that hakuju in Japanese. And it seems to me that in the West, old age often viewed in a poor light when people have passed their prime and cannot contribute very much to society, if I may say so.
Afraid that's true.
But in Japanese and Chinese cultures, it's a source of jubilation.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear you say that at all, because from what I gather, respect for old age arose here in Japan and in China too, because it's mainly through experience over the years that people can build up the wisdom which the Oriental culture seem to value so highly. It's interesting, I think, that recognition for achievement here in Japan, such as the Order of Culture Awards or the Imperial Decorations, usually comes to those who are already pretty advanced in years and who've spent a lifetime already devoted to their particular pursuits. As a sort of a contrast, I remember a few years ago, Queen Elizabeth of Britain, she gave the MBE to the Beatles, and of course they were still very young at the time. And every year in Britain, people who are still fairly young, sportsmen, for example, get decorations from the Queen.
Well, that could be one of the reasons for the fact that in Japan, people seem to enjoy talking about their ages, even as they're starting to get older. But in the West, it's regarded almost as a taboo to make age a topic for social conversations. Don't you think, Tony?
Yeah, absolutely. Opening a conversation with a topic related to someone's age is the last thing we'd want to do in England.
今日は ages あるいは age ですが年齢ということでお話をしておりますね。それで、日本では比較的年を取るということがいいことあるいはめでたいことというそういう感覚があります。でこれは中国の影響だと思われますが、ところが西洋では、年を取るということはそれほどめでたいことあるいは素晴らしいことだというふうな感覚がどうもなさそうですね。Although you don't celebrate special birthdays as we do here in Japan at certain advanced ages, you do celebrate your birthdays, don't you?
Yes, we do. Children especially like to have birthday parties with games like musical chairs, and there's a blindfold game called Pin the Tail on the Donkey. And even adults like to get birthday presents or birthday cards and have birthday dinners. And birthday dinners and parties usually end with a birthday cake with candles to wish on. You make a wish and blow out the candles.
That's right.
Children usually have one candle for each year of their age. That is, someone 7 years old would have 7 candles. But after a while, the adults just stop counting, I think. How's it done in England?
It's the same, that's right.
So, do you mean then if someone is, say, 55 years old and he wouldn't put, say, 55 candles in the cake?
Not only because it would be almost impossible to put 55 candles on the cake, but, well, once a person is grown, I think whether you're 54 or 55 or 60 is not really very important.
No, not really.
And do you have any special birthdays, say, when one reaches a certain age in England?
Yes, it's interesting you should mention that, because in England, for example, I don't know about the States, Sue, but in England, the age of 21 is a very special age.
Oh.
And when I was 21, I received from my parents a big key. It's called the key to the door.
Oh.
I suppose it's the door to adult life. But 21 is a very important birthday for British people.
Oh, how interesting. Did you say key to the door?
Yes, that's
Did
right.
we key to the door, opening the world to adults or something?
I suppose.
Adulthood?
Yes, I suppose so.
Do you have a similar custom in the United States, Sue? I mean, when someone becomes 21 years old, do you have a special birthday celebration?
Nothing quite like that. I guess when you're 21, you're considered an adult in every way, so perhaps it's a special birthday, but actually we can vote now at 18. And for things like drinking alcohol and things like that, there's usually a different law in every state, so we don't really have one particular age that's so important.
とは言いましても、やはり西洋でも、日本でもそうですけれども、お誕生日はお祝いをします。そこで特にイギリスの場合には、21歳、最近では18歳というふうに年齢が少し低くなったようですけれども、いわゆる日本の成人式にあたるそのお誕生日の時には盛大なお誕生日のお祝いがなされるわけですね。でその時に Key to the Door ということを今おっしゃいましたが、これは自分が成人になって大人の世界へ、入れるというそういうことを鍵で、象徴するというところから、大きな鍵の贈り物をされるというふうなことがありますね。それで向こうのお店に行きますとそういう鍵のギフト贈り物が、店頭に並んでいることがあります。そういう意味があるようですね。And one other thing which is worth mentioning in this connection is your wedding anniversaries, the celebration of which seems to be an important part of your, say, process of aging.
Well, that's right. Now that you mentioned it, we can say in the West that, in a way, getting old is considered something jubilant, too, in terms of wedding anniversaries.
Yes,
we mark particularly the silver anniversary after 25 years, or golden anniversary after 50.
Yes, and then there's the diamond beyond that.
Yes.
In England, I think it's one of these special anniversaries. The old couple get a telegram from the Queen congratulating them on their many years of marriage together. Yes.
That's very nice. And that leads me to another aspect of Japanese customs associated with the ages of the deceased, so to speak, anniversaries of dead persons, which are least likely to be marked as special occasions in your country. Am I right?
That's right. I guess we go to the cemetery sometimes on special days like Memorial Day or Veterans Day. Another common day for visiting cemetery would be Mother's Day, actually. I think the most common day is Memorial Day and then Mother's Day.
And you have a similar customs on those dates in England, Tony? I mean, you have Memorial Day, don't you?
Yes, we do in November. And then all the government officials go to a particular part of London and pay homage to the memory of those who've fallen in battle.
I would think the number of years that a person has been dead is not very important. It isn't to us.
No, it isn't, except perhaps in the case of very famous people like poets or composers or musicians, perhaps. We might celebrate the 100th anniversary of Beethoven's death or something like that.
If not celebrate, we might say observe.
Yes, observe.
But as you might know in Japan, other than anniversaries in reference to dead persons, we visited the tomb on spring and autumnal equinox dates, and it's a part of our family life, or sometimes it's regarded as a family obligation.
Is it? I see. Right, well, back to talking about some age-oriented customs. One interesting expression which Westerners living in Japan find very hard to keep out of conversations, even in their native tongue, is the Japanese word senpai.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I've heard that many times. Did you look that up in the dictionary?
Yes, I did. And my dictionary listed the word predecessor, but from what I've heard from Japanese friends, in fact, predecessor isn't an exact translation, because in its most meaningful sense in Japanese, am I right, Mr. Togo? It refers to a single person who's perhaps acted as a mentor or as a guide, and has therefore had a closer relationship with you than the relationship implied by the English word predecessor.
Yes, you're right. And since there are no equivalents in English, so I think what I suggest is to use the original Japanese senpai in reference to that particular thing.
And the opposite is what, a kohai?
Yes, that's right.
I guess in the West, generally, we're supposed to respect our elders and our senpai, I guess you could say, but it's a much less formal relationship.
That's right.
それから西洋では結婚の記念日、これを非常に大切にする習慣がありますね。そして日本でももちろん行われておりますが、特に日本と比較をしますとそれ以上に大切にされているように思われます。それから日本では法事であるとか亡くなった人の命日をいろいろと弔うことがありますが、こういう習慣は個人の場合にはアメリカ、イギリスではそれほどありません。特に有名な人であるとか、あるいは戦没戦死、そういう人たちの公のVeterans Day、あるいは Memorial Day、そういったものはありますけれども、個人に関しては日本で行われているようにはありません。それから先輩後輩というふうな関係が日本ではありますが、これも、単なる言葉の上の問題ではなくて、そういうものが、そういう人間関係が西洋にはないわけですから、どうしても英語にする場合には、非常に難しくて、つい日本語の先輩という言葉を使ってしまうという今お話を伺いましたですね。強いて言うならばメンターであるとかコンフィデント、あるいはそういう役目もするということですね。Okay, for the rest of the time, as usual, shall we have a quick look at some interesting expressions relating to age today? And I wonder what's at the top of your list, Tony?
Right, well, mine is the one used in reference to an old person. He's a bit too long in the tooth.
Which means?
Well, it means...
He's a little too old?
Right, yes.
And what about saying actual age? What does it mean? Or behave your age?
That's something we usually say to children when we think they can behave better than they actually are. Grow up.
And someone is aging rapidly, which means is getting old so fast, and the term age is used as a verb.
Physical deterioration, usually.
Well, I'm sorry, Sue, but that's all the time we have today, and we'll have to conclude today's coffee break. And everybody, make sure and join us again. Till then, so long.
Bye, everybody.
Cheerio, everybody.
担当は東後勝明先生。お相手はスー・ワンウィッグさんとアントニー・ニューエルさんでした。英語会話を終わります。